Hey Fabien,
Hi, Diogo. How are you?
how are you?
Very good. Finally, we got nice weather coming back in France, so it's very nice. We had a lot of rain for about a week now. So as you guess,
Okay.
there is a lot of trouble in the vineyards. People are starting to see a lot of mildew coming in and different stuff, but now it's
Uh,
getting warmer and warmer, so hopefully it dries up pretty quickly.
yeah, here right now it's pouring rain, but next week will be okay. We are
Okay.
trying to do a treatment tomorrow at the vineyard, but let's see if the weather holds up. Because if it's pouring rain again, it doesn't. Well, we won't do it.
Yeah. So how is it going for you this year so far? Pretty good. Are you getting like a bit in France, having some early forecast, or
Now it's
because
it's
here
still
it seems we have about 2 or 3 weeks ahead. So
well, it's still too early to say. Things are going well so far. But now we have all the vineyards are almost entering the flowering, and let's see how it goes. That well, the production will depend on that.
nice. So I sent the link of the live also to our dear friend in Norway. So he sent the link to some of the Norwegian people also. So there might be a few of them joining in a while. They
Nice.
probably will ask some questions anyway. Your connection is good at home, yeah?
Well, I'm at the winery. I hope it works.
Okay.
It's been working.
Yeah.
It's been working so far. So yeah.
Look what I got here. It's my last one.
Really, I saw that you
It's
you have
yeah, 2006.
6. Okay, you have more than I do. Um,
And
well,
I
that's
have
why.
this one as a trophy on the fireplace, but
I
it's
know. I don't
empty.
have. I don't have that anymore.
Um, so
I'm hoping. I'm.
maybe
I'm. I'm opening a different one right now today.
which one? Ah, the new ones. Cool.
The new one. Yeah. The Pirata de Viúva.
So maybe you could tell us first where you're basically in Portugal. Where is Colares? Because it's probably not the most famous appellation of, wow, beautiful. It's not the most famous or the most well-known appellation in Portugal, but also in the world.
Well, uh, for well, for people who don't know the region or don't know that much about Portugal, Colares stays about 35-40 minutes away from Lisbon, down at the coast of Sintra, Atlantic coast. So Colares is the most western point of continental Europe. So I'm not counting with I'm counting with the Azores because they are western than us, of course. Um, and yeah, the thing in this region that it made the region very famous was phylloxera. So um, our vineyards and the vineyards in this region were not attacked by phylloxera because the roots are buried deep in sandy soils. Uh, so while by the end of the 19th century, everyone was struggling in Portugal, in Europe, uh, with this disease. Here in Colares, things were going pretty well, and yeah, those were the golden ages of the region. Then later on, of course, this is a very cool and nice area to live and to spend vacations, and it's not a farming area like you have in the Douro Valley or the Alentejo. So farmers were starting to sell land for construction. So we suffered a huge real estate pressure around here. And well, later on, these wines are not fashion anymore. I guess people were looking for different stuff, more concentrated wines, sweeter wines, what we know as full body wines. And wines from this region, wines from here, are always very light, full of acidity and tannic. So well, we kind of lost market on that. And well, when
How many
coming to
producers are you now in Colares?
we are, well, us, the co-op, Fundação Oriente, Chitas, and Casal Santa Maria. So we are 5 wineries at the moment, and we have well, we have now a new project, is Ramilo Wines as well, and we have Casca Wines as well. They don't have a winery here, but they have a wine from here, and yeah, that's it for now. That's it. There are 7 players, I guess.
So only 7 producers. That's
Yeah.
very small.
Well, it's the smallest region of wines in Portugal. It's about between 15 to 20 hectares of vines planted. I'm talking about sandy soil, so the DOC,
Yeah.
large origin controlled. Well, other than, of course, these other than the sandy soil vineyards and the sandy soil wines, we have around here very important. We have other soils such as clay limestone soils by the region, by the coast. So they are kind of like exposed to the same conditions, but they are not sand. So out of these soils, we are not able to mark the wines as DOC Colares. We can mark them
Okay.
as Lisbon or wines of Portugal, and we also have those wines, and we are doing some new discoveries with the new wine we just released, the Pirata da Viúva. It represents our discoveries on the soils that are not sand around the region. So we look for the place where the grapes come from, the specific vineyard. We look to do some, or to approach the variety as it develops in this specific region. So it's been an adventure so far.
So Colares wine can be produced only on sandy soil, eh?
Only, yeah, to be labeled by our wine commission, only sandy soil, Ramisco on the reds, and Malvasia of Colares on the whites.
Oh yeah.
Well, you can produce other wines in here, but if you want to apply for a certification, it will be wines of Lisbon. Although we have a very different terroir than what we are used to as Lisbon wines. So the wines here it's a completely different microclimate around here. So wines develop a completely different profile that what we are used to from wines of Lisbon. Actually, in my opinion, I don't really want, or I don't really. It's not my goal to link my wines as Lisbon wines, although we are pretty close. I understand that in terms of marketing, it sells better in international markets, but my goal is to promote more like wines from this area, from Sintra, although it doesn't exist the appellation, but it's well, we are working on it.
So as you get sandy soil, most of your plots are planted with Prephyloxera plant, yeah, or not necessarily?
Not necessarily. It depends. Yeah, we have some. Well, the average age of the vineyards is about 70 to 80 years old.
Yeah, so those are probably ungrafted for most of them.
All of them have to be ungrafted. To make the DOC Colares, you cannot graft. It's all ungrafted. Even if you do new plantations,
it needs to be ungrafted.
Exactly. What we did last year, we planted the sandy soil vineyard, and we just cutted the genetic material, the shoots from vineyards around here, the ones we like the most, and we planted straight the shoot on the ground, and now it's growing. We have this new plantation, and we export two other vineyards. One which is about 15 years old, all ungrafted as well, and one specific plot which is about 100 years old. So yeah, we have 3 plots of sand, one of clay. Everything very small. Well, things around here have nothing to do with long extensions of vineyards that we are used to see. It's everything is different. Everything works in a different way. Even we were talking before about the players in the market around here, and we get along very well with each other. We don't fight with each other. We try to promote the region as the best as we can. So it's
well, you better have to, as you are only 7 guys. So
yeah.
So you said it needs to be ungrafted, which is nice. But for the plantation, do you put them on wire, or they're like bush vines along the soil, or?
Well, you can do both. You can do both. In general, the new plantations, they are already in a trellis system, so they are already in the wires, built in rows. The old vineyards, they spread around the ground, like I would say it's the system could be a vase or a gobelet kind of, so no wires at all.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but the plants we plant right now, we try to do a mix between the old classic style and what should be done, or what's better for treatments and everything. But we have some specific rules for the plants. For example, the first wire where you hold the plant, it has to be at the maximum of 30 centimeters from the ground. And yeah, because you want to reflect the heat through the sand, and you want to protect the vineyards from sea storms and the strong winds from the north.
Yeah, because you're really on the coast, basically.
Yeah, for you to have an idea, the new plot we planted is about 200 meters from the ocean, from the shore, higher up, of course. And this vineyard that I was telling you before, the one that is about 100 years old. The vineyard has it's about 100 meters from the ocean. So yeah, we are pretty close. And when there's a sea storm or something, the rows or the plants that are more exposed, we suffer a lot with them. Sometimes the early shoots, they break only through the wind. Sometimes it's not easy to deal with. One other problem, it's not a problem, is a challenge that we have around here, is the diseases. So we have a lot of humidity, so a lot of fungus around. We have a huge pressure of downy mildew and powdery mildew. So it's pretty tough. On the plots we explore ourselves, the plots that we treat, we started last year to do an effort to treat everything with the principles of organic farming. I cannot assume at this point if we will be able to do everything in bio.
You have too much humidity, yeah.
Yeah, every year, but I've been studying a lot, talking to some people a lot that have been doing, especially in France actually, that they've been doing this for some time now. So we're doing an effort to treat everything with the principles of organic farming. I'm not sure if it's possible or it's going to be possible every single year, but we are doing an effort.
Yeah, you're
Our
gonna see
last
on the
year,
long term how is it going. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Last year, for example, we treated everything with those principles, and it worked pretty well. But last year was pretty dry. This year is going well so far. We have some points of downy mildew as already, but well, it's controlled. And yeah, you have to be on top of the vineyards all the time, and you have to be very specific on the treatments, and it's all about timing. So yeah, doing an effort on
So I
that.
just want to say to people watching, if you have any question, feel free to ask. We will do our best to give you the clearest answers as we can.
Yeah, sounds good.
Uh,
Let's
maybe you can tell us a little bit about your history, because in a way you were not always having this winery with your father, because you're still working with your father there. So
yeah. Well, this is a family business. I'm now the fifth generation. Um, and well, of course, it's an old business, but at the same time, we considered it as a new project because things have been changing on the last few years, and we are doing a lot of changes and doing some effort in different fields. Um, but yeah, my family started the business in 1898 in Sintra. We used to have a winery there. We still have a winery there. And this winery was originally to make everything, and Viúva Gomes, the winery which we are settled right now, was just a winery for aging. One thing that we've been doing is we are settling step by step. We are settling everything in this winery, and leaving the other winery for the other side of the family, which doesn't work in wine at all. Yeah, but at the beginning the business was wine and food business, and then when I say food was codfish and olive oils and vinegars and stuff. And later on, when the big chains of supermarkets arrived in Portugal, we lost all the partners we and clients we have on the food part, so we just stick to the wine business. And well, it's been going on with my great grandfather, my grandfather, my father, and now I'm here. I'm working with my father since 2015. And well, it's a small business, two-man show pretty much. And
How many
yeah,
bottles you produce on a normal vintage?
well, we have about 15,000 bottles, so it's pretty small. Um, Probably with these new wines we just released, we will go up to the maybe 18,000, trying to reach in, I don't know, 3 years 20,000. I don't want to grow that much. I want to keep control of everything, keep the crafting and not turn this into an industry. All the wines we do here, and of course, because things are small and we don't have big quantities, we don't have big vineyards, we can control everything, and we can do everything with the principles we wanted, and what we think it's the best, we are able to do it, which is very very important. So so yeah, I don't want to turn this into a factory, keep the craft, but at the same time I want to take these wines to other geographies. So I want people to taste, to have the chance of tasting all the wines in several different parts of the world. And it's, well, it's very, in my opinion, it's very important to be able to do it. One thing that unfortunately we have to do, it's we work through allocation, as you know. In
I
other,
know very well. It's been a fight for the market in Norway, but
yeah, but you know, it's very important to do this because we can, on one hand, we can protect our partners,
oh,
give
definitely.
them, of course, not everything they would desire and not everything that the market needs, but we try to fulfill the requirements, and at the same time we are not having some partner or some distributor to take everything at once. So
Yeah,
it's important for us to do that job and to keep control of our own stocks. So we try to make everyone happy with the quantities we provide and the wines we make. And it's it's very important. Wine is meant to drink and for people to enjoy. And
that's a good mindset. That's a good mindset. I have a question from maybe he's a friend of you. Pintado 666 is having a question. He's saying, are you having any plan to make a sparkling or pet nut? Or would there be any interest to do some in Colares, Royal?
Well, these are for sure experiments that I think all the experiments should be done. You cannot block yourself, or you cannot block your knowledge or whatever, or the style of wines. As a winemaker, here we have this weight, or good weight on our back, which is good. We have to keep on with the classics, and we will always will. But of course, I don't exclude the chance of doing something different. And actually, the brand, or the series of the Piratas de Viúva we just created are just for new experiments that we explore, and at the same time we can do series or limited series or limited wines, and at the same time explore some different techniques that maybe if they work we can apply to the classics. So the Piratas are wines to try different things that we might apply to the classics or not, and maybe in the future we will make I don't know, maybe when I'm grandpa, we'll make the Piratas classic of this wine.
Maybe you can just explain for the people what is the Pirata wine compared to your classic Colares range, because probably not everyone knows. So.
Yeah, well, the pirata means in Portuguese it means pirates, and it's pirate because we are, well, of course, by the ocean, and it means something that it's not that runs away from what's classic. We have the classic wines, the Viúva Gomes from sandy soils, DOC Colares, and we also have the Patrão Diogo. Patrão Diogo is this wine. So we have the classics of sandy soils, Viúva Gomes, and the classics of clay limestone soils is the Patrão Diogo. Patrão Diogo is a tribute wine to my great grandfather, and we have to keep these two. Our goal with the Piratas, so our goal with the new wine, is to explore the clay limestone soils in different ways. So on the sand, we will stick to the classics. We don't have much production. It's very hard to deal with the land in every aspect. And I believe it has, and it's already developed the potential that it needs to reach. On the clay limestone soils, we want to go further than what we have right now. So the Patrão Diogo is a wine that we can call it as an introduction for the region. So if people don't know the region, it's very important to show the Patrão Diogo, because it represents the region, but on a uncomplicated way of showing it.
And it's still made with the grape variety that you use for the Colares appellation anyway.
It's not. It's a blend of different varieties planted here in the region. But yeah, the Patrão Diogo is our entrance wine for people that want to enjoy an uncomplicated wine without thinking too much about it. Because, as I said, the wine is meant to drink. So it's sometimes you don't.
All wine is meant to be drunk, you know.
Yeah, sometimes you don't want uh, to drink a wine and talk about it or to think too much about it. So Patron Diogo is a clay soil wine in this region that we want people to drink, be happy, and it's an introduction to the region. Well, these and also to be faithful to what is the classic clay limestone soils, clay limestone soil wines. So if you go to a restaurant around here, around the region, and if you ask for a sandy soil, if you ask for a clay soil wine, you'll find wines with the style of Patron Diogo, and this is very, very important. The Pirata, we are exploring the same soils of the Patron Diogo on a different perspective. I would say, on my perspective, I want to leave a bit of my legacy while I'm here.
That's nice. That's nice. Oh, you have probably it's a friend of you or someone who follows you. It's Francisco Antunes, who said that Amisco 1969 was the wine that made me fall in love with wine. He has
Nice.
good taste. He has good taste.
That's very good to hear, actually. But
you have Pintado, you have Pintado, which is saying tasted Pirata at Simplesmente Vinho this year, and they said it was amazing. So I think you're on a good path.
Great. Thanks.
And I think I've heard some good feedback from Frederick in Norway also. He was very, very curious and very interested in the wines.
I'm not sure if Frederick is around this conversation, but
he was at the beginning, but I'm not sure.
Say hi to him.
Yeah. Your Pirata range that you're making is very different than the Colares range that you do, in terms of variety, but also, let's say, how you make it in the cellar, or not at all.
Well, in terms of varieties, we have one. One which is Malvasia of Colares. So Malvasia de Colares is the grape variety we use on the sandy soil.
So it's a typical local variety that you cannot find anywhere else, huh?
Yeah, exactly. The thing is, the DOC Colares, so the wines, the Viúva Gomes that are planted on sandy soils, we use Ramisco for the reds and Malvasia of Colares for the whites. Our plan with the Pirata, and it's already happening, is to try these two varieties on clay limestone soils. So same region, different soils with these two varieties. So we took the same genetic material from old vineyards around here, and we grafted on clay, because on clay we do have to graft. Where we do have to graft, it's safer to graft. And then on the Pirata range as well, we'll be having a Castelão. Castelão is a variety wide planted in Portugal, but that I love very much. It's a variety that has been planted here for a long time in this region, and I love the profile that this variety develops in this region. So we do have a Pirata single variety of Castelão, and we'll have one called the Tutti Frutti. So it means a blend of mixed fruits, mix of varieties, whites and reds, from local varieties from here, from experiments we have planted. So it will be more like funky wine to be different every year, to change the style, to risk. Regarding the winemaking technique, on all our wines, we don't do it by recipe. So we don't act if we don't need to act. We let the grapes and the fermentations and the aging goes as it wants to go. But on the other hand, we have to, well, if things go wrong, we have to act. So we only act if things start going wrong. For example, the Remisco, the Viúva Gomes Remisco usually ferments with indigenous yeasts. But, well, if the fermentation is slippery, we have the SOS kit to act. So we are not very strict in terms of the usage of product. We try to minimize the usage, but we are not strict. On the Pirata range, my goal is not to use at all enological and commercial products on these wines. So it is what it is. The grapes will be a reflection of the year. So for example, the Castelão that I'm drinking right now is 10.5% of alcohol.
The one that I tasted last year, yeah?
Yes, exactly. You tasted
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
Lovely, easy drinking wine. Ah, Frederick is here. He's saying network problems going in and out. Come on, Frederick, you don't have Wi-Fi? Or you don't have internet in Norway?
Well, if it was here in Colares, it would be expected because we are in the end of the world by the ocean. So it's stormy right now. It's pouring rain right now. So yeah.
So last time I came to visit you, you explained me clearly how it works to produce Colares. That you need to bring your grapes to the cooperative, and then they give you a lot after for making your wine.
Yeah, well,
which is very unusual.
For sure. So in the past, when these wines were not fashion anymore, the co-op was created to be the safe place for the local farmers. So all these local farmers are associated in the co-op, and the grapes of I'm talking about sandy soil grapes, not the others.
Yeah.
The sandy soil grapes go to the co-op, and we get a share of those grapes to our winery, and this is what happens with all our wineries around here, with the exception of Fundação Oriente. So pretty much the grapes we produce ourselves, they come straight to our winery, but the grapes from local farmers, since they are associated with the co-op, they have to pass through the co-op and then to here. Of course, and this is all linked to what I was telling you before. Of course, we could go around and buy straight from the local farmers, but we don't want to create any wars between producers. We, as Viúva Gomes, and the other producers as well, but I could go straight to Mr. Antonio and buy grapes straight from him, but I don't want to do it. They have
the cooperative allows you to share in a fair way between producers.
Exactly. And just imagine if I go straight to him and buy his grapes. Well, first of all, he has a commitment with the co-op. That's the first thing. And then if I go straight to him, the co-op can go again and pays more. And for example, a lot of the producer goes again and pays more. And all of a sudden we create here a war of prices over grapes that is not good for anyone. So I believe it's better and sustainable to keep things this way. Of course, if I have my own plantations, I don't need. It's not mandatory for me to deliver the grapes at the co-op.
Yeah.
So if you want to do wine in Colares, or you respect the local farming,
you need to play with the rules,
or you plant your own.
Yeah. Nice. If anyone is having questions, feel free to ask, guys. We're here for that. this 2006 is beautiful. Too bad. Too bad. It's my last one. I think I'm gonna have to. Are you selling your wines in France anywhere or?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Come on. Anyone from France can import his wines. I need to fill up my cellar. Yeah.
Actually, we work. Yeah, actually, by Paris, we work with a caviste. The owner of the shop is Francois from Quinta da Vacarissa, I believe.
Ah, yeah, I know him. I know him.
And he has our wines. I don't recall the name of the shop right now, but I know that they have. It's just outside of Paris.
So, I have also a question. I think you replied to me last time, but maybe people are curious or they don't see it. This is a tiny bottle actually. This is 500 milliliters, so it's not like a classic full bottle. Is it traditional in Colares or it's a choice that you made?
Well, actually, in the past, yeah, those are our bottles are half a liter bottles. In the past, they were 65 centiliters, and in 1999, so it was the first vintage we bottled in half a liter. We decided to recreate, along with other producers. We decided to recreate the old bottles for the new vintages. So it turned out into this. Oh, sorry. It says region of Colares on the top, and there are several producers that use this bottle. And yeah, these half a liter bottles are a reflex of the size of the region. So we don't have much wine. It's a way of doing more bottles. And actually, the feedback of these bottles, it's in some markets is good, because sometimes people at home don't want to drink a whole bottle, and half a liter is the good quantity for two people. Well, not if you're Portuguese.
When you make these good, you need a magnum, you know. Someone answered already for the cellar. Cave de Fontenay.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So this one, it was a white, but I see on the back it's 65. So
65, yeah.
So, and you still sell very old vintages, if I recall, yeah? You still have some 34 and some stuff like this, or?
Well, yeah, pretty much. Well, the 34 is the allocation of 34 is already done. But we, on these old vintages, we release just a certain amount of these wines every year. But we still have available the 1965, 1967, and 1969. For you to have an idea of the 69, we release 1,000 bottles each year to sell, and we allocate to the partners. And we, of course, we keep a bit for the Portuguese market and the local market. And when the allocation of the year is gone, we stop selling and we start selling again next year. This is also to avoid someone to buys it all, you know?
Yeah. So you sell mostly in Portugal, or you export more?
At this moment, we are exporting about 60% of the whole production to different markets. So, well, we were talking about Norway. Norway is a very interesting market because I guess people in Norway tend to respect a lot our products, and they really enjoy our wines, which is great. And Frederick is doing an excellent job, and you as well, to position.
Now it's getting tougher with most of restaurants shut down, but
and yeah, and then the US, it's also a huge market for us. It's very important. because
You still work with them even now, or you had to stop in the orders, or how?
no,
does it work?
even now. Well, it's a small production. It's not I mean, it's not a scale business.
One importer covering everything, or you're
No, just specific states. We are mainly in New York, and then some agents in other states. Yeah, but the US is also an interesting market because people don't have they're not afraid to take the risk and taste new things, different stuff, and yeah, they also respect a lot to the product of wine, and yeah, it's been a great adventure. Then, for example, Singapore is a very nice market as well. It's a new market, and people are looking for well, looking for different stuff, and yeah. But mainly we export 60% of the production, and it's been going well so far.
You have Magnus that you maybe know. He's Swedish. He said, "Finally, we gotten the wines in Sweden."
Yeah, true.
Who's your importer there?
In Sweden, I don't remember.
But it's pretty new, or that
Yeah,
you work.
we
Okay,
started
nice.
to work last year.
And the people getting what? Old vintages also, or?
Yeah, everything.
Portucastas.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Thank
Portucastas.
you. Thank you.
Thank you, Magnus. So if you were to explain what is Colares red and Colares white in terms of what's in the bottle, but also in terms of identity and how it tastes, to differentiate from other wines in Portugal or even in the world, what makes Colares wine so unique?
Well, first of all, the grape varieties we use. These are grape varieties that were not imported from some place. They are autochthonous from this area, so that is very important. They are. The story says that these varieties have been here since the Roman Empire, and they have developed here some genetic characteristics that are adapted to the place. They are very rustic grapes, such as Ramishko or the Malvasia. I would say that the Malvasia is for people who haven't tasted. It kind of like reminds us the whites from the Loire Valley maybe, and the reds they go. The Ramishko, it has some similarities with the Pinot Noir, although it's more much more rustic, much more wild than the Pinot. On the whites, the Malvasia of Colares, and this is very important. Portugal and around the world, we know a lot of Malvasias.
Especially in Italy, they love it. Yeah. There is Malvasia everywhere.
Malvasia is in English is the Malmsey, and we have a lot of them in Portugal. For example, in the north you have the Malvasia Fina, for example, and in Madeira the Malvasia Candida. Here is Malvasia of Colares, but actually this grape doesn't come from the other Malvasias. Has nothing to do with the other Malvasias. It's the cross of the grape Amaral from Vinhos Verdes with a touch of a grape in the Iberic Peninsula called Morisco Branco. So these two grapes crossed in Colares, so and developed what is known today as Malvasia of Colares. It's a variety that, in my opinion, when it's very new, you get a lot of green tea notes and very herbal and with a lot of flinty notes as well. But I believe it develops its full potential when it goes a bit to the barrel, because the barrel develops the micro oxygenation the wine needs in our opinion to increase more the sense of the place where it comes from. So to increase the minerality and the flinty notes, and also develops some notes of dry fruits and
But you
honey.
get these salty notes also. It's because you're on the coast, yeah? Or
Yeah,
always, yeah.
yeah. Imagine if you go to if you go to a vineyard very close to the ocean. Well, actually, the grapes are, well, I wouldn't say cover of salt, but you can see the salt on the grapes and
So
even in
it's
soil.
making like it's covering the skin all over.
Yeah, and even well, of course, the sand is it's salty as well. Um, and yeah, the Remishku uh, is a wild variety. You can feel a lot of I would say red, black fruits, and it's kind of like if you if you walk on the forest after a rainy day, so it tastes a lot like earthy notes and tobacco notes and pine notes as well. Very wild in terms of acidity and tannins. And you feel some iodine notes and maybe for understand more, some ferric iron notes.
Yeah.
Because of the salinity as well. In the reds, it develops like this. So yeah, that's pretty much it. The remishkus, for example, they age a lot in old casks of mahogany and chestnut. And
It is traditional from Colares to use
exactly.
different wood barrels. Yeah.
Yeah. And then 1 or 2 years in French oak barrels. We only use for reds and whites used barrels. We don't add any new oak. And then yeah, it's mainly 7 years of aging and then bottle and ready to drink. Some people think that
7 years is mandatory for Colares, or
No,
each
no,
year
no,
we
no.
decide it?
Mandatory is 36 month, I believe.
Okay.
But my father believes it's better to keep the wines. My opinion, I think the with the profile of tasters we have around the world and in Portugal, I believe people are willing to taste these wines younger. For example, it would be okay to drink now a 2015 or 2016 already. And I enjoyed these wines because I like wild wines and fresh wines full of acidity and full of grip. But I understand that in terms of classic style, it has to age some more time.
We got a good question from Magnus. Probably it appears on your screen. What would be the main difference looking at the winemaking in the old bottles? So the wines that you didn't do before you got the winery, and what you produce today. Was there much difference, or you try to do a bit like in the old times?
Well, we want to keep always the profile of these wines, but of course along the years the techniques are always developing, the knowledge is always developing, the equipments are also developed. We want to keep the profile, but of course every time we try to do better and better. But if you compare a bottle that we do today compared to a bottle done in, well, for example, compare the 1969 with the 2011, which is the vintage we have right now in the market. The 1969 was the fermentation was made in the troncoconic vats, wood troncoconic vats. Whole bunch, so 100% of the stem. The things, the care at the vineyard was not like it is today. It was much more old style, and sometimes the condition.
Did people use like a bit in the Duro, you know, the lagares? Did you have like some granitic stuff in the old times, or not at all?
Yeah, we have a marble lagar.
So it used to be not done only in the Duro, the lagar. It was a bit traditional for all over.
Yeah,
Portugal.
pretty much all around Portugal. Yeah, and then the stone depends where the
the region.
Yeah, the region where you are. Yeah, also some wines were fermented in lagar. Here is mainly marble. We have one. We are not using it anymore. Today, the wines, the Ramisco usually ferments. We destem everything and we select the good stem and put it back on. So we are working at the moment with about 20 to 30% of the stem each year. Then fermentation is done in stainless steel tanks. In the aging, in the past was just mahogany and chestnut casks, and right now we alternate between the mahogany and chestnuts and French oak barrel. In the bottling today, bottlings are much better developed. When we have to bottle, we rent a machine to come to the winery to bottle these wines, and the environment of bottling, it's much more controlled than it was in the past. And to go back to what I was saying at the beginning, the care we have on the transport of the grapes today, and the care we have on the treatments today and the products used, everything it's much better done today. Grapes come to the winery, they are ready to crush and to ferment. In the past, sometimes they would wait outside the winery, sometimes in bags, dirty. But I guess the wines turn out excellent. But today we have much more. The hygiene is much better today.
Yeah.
Everything in the winery, it turns it's pretty much 10% making wine and 90% cleaning. So the secret is like cleaning everything all the time.
You just make sure to bring in good fruits from your vineyard, so having good vineyards. And after you do the minimum that you can in the cellar, but keeping it very clean to don't have any problem.
Always, yeah.
Me, I have a question. We didn't talk about it last time. Is when you had all these hard times in the late 1900s in Portugal, did Colares producer when you went into dictatorship, did Colares keep on producing wine, or how was it going?
Well, you have some different scenarios there that you can link all to one, actually. So the 60s around here were still great. Large production, and the farmers were, and the local production was doing great. Then the 70s, we had the revolution for democracy in 74.
Yeah.
And those times were and before 74, those times were not nice. Were pretty tough. So the production kept going, but some things got abandoned, some things were not taken care as it were in the past. And of course, after when Portugal became a democracy, you all of a sudden you had this whole new world to discover. So some people saw different opportunities around Portugal, and different jobs came up. So the agriculture and farming in that general were a bit left behind. Then the 80s, looking at the wine production in Portugal, the 80s we entered European Community, and the government declared that we had an excess of vineyards in Portugal. So the European funds were giving money to unplant vineyard. The farmers would unplant the vineyards and sell the land for construction and leave.
So it's when you had big changes for you in Colares.
Yeah, exactly.
Starting in the 80s. And...
Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty hard to find wines from the 80s in this region. Then the 90s, things started to heat up again, but still the region was very small and was forgotten in terms of markets. People, once again, were looking for sweeter wines, full body wines, stronger wines from different regions that were coming up. And they kind of like, people were running away from the acidity of the coast, and they wanted more alcohol in the wines and easier wines. So the 90s were, things started to heat up again, but we're not great. Then step by step, I guess people were willing to discover some more. Trends change, and I guess some people came back to the roots and to what people were tasting in the past. So yeah, maybe one day this all changes again. I don't know, but I hope not.
So I guess it's almost 1 hour. So does anyone have any other question? Or I think we're just gonna wrap it, because probably Diogo still has a lot of work to do. Because wine producer need to be in the vineyard, in the cellar, do everything. So
yeah, it's a two-man show. So
yeah,
but it's great to do these things. And thank you for having me. It's great.
So what I will do, I will try to repost the video on YouTube.
Sure.
So people can ask any question in comments. Whatever they ask, I will send it to you so I can give them answer later. And that's pretty much it. I will try to post it on Facebook also. So I'm gonna try to download the live, which is not easy to do, but yeah, thank you, Magnus. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
My pleasure. I hope to be back in Portugal very soon, by the way. For now, it's a bit trouble with all the planes canceled and whatever, and even the border closed. And I just want to say to people, whenever everything is reopening a little bit, fly to Portugal and you land in Lisbon, and with about 30-40 minute drive, you end up in Colares. It's very quick, very easy. And if you don't want to drive, you can take the train and you can go and visit Colares. You will love it. It's very rural. And that's pretty much it. If you, what he's saying, Magnus is saying he wants to go back to Portugal also. So guys, keep happy, drink good wine. If you find Colares, drink Colares, and you will not regret it. Bye-bye.
Bye,
Thank you very much, Diogo. Take care.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.